And now for something completely random.
We need to review this.
Finally, we're reviewing this!
Okay, I know that I typically diverge from Miraculous for large milestones or belated April Fool specials, but I'm gonna make an exception in this case because it's Valentine's Day and my girlfriend's going to keep on asking me please until my mind cracks from her cuteness and the fact that she's not here in my arms right now! So Rise of the Mutant Ninja Turtles. Developed and produced by Andy Suriano and Ant Ward, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the fourth animated series in the monolith of a franchise that is a TMNT, and one that is still going strong as evidenced by the most recent movie, Mutant Mayhem.
Even though the Rise movie was better.
A discussion for another day, honey. But if you want to know about my history with the Turtles, I've certainly heard of them throughout my youth. I've seen clips of the 2007 movie, and I even watched a death battle between all four Turtles, but I was never really too deep into it until I saw the 2012 animated show, and I thought it was pretty sweet. At least the first season anyways. I know that they go into space at one point, and April wears the classic yellow jumpsuit from the 80s. Josh Peck is Casey Jones in this one.
Where's the money?
What?
This is a holdup. You give me the money, I ain't playing.
But I also managed to collect the toys, the weapons, and the mutagen ooze canisters, some of which I gave away, and even saw some of the movies, like the aforementioned 2007 one, which I ended up enjoying but haven't really seen in a while, the Bayverse ones, which aren't the best, but I wouldn't say that they are horrible, and of course the first two live-action movies, which I highly recommend. I have not seen the third one, but judging by these liver spots, I think I'm not missing out too much.
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
God, I almost feel ashamed to admit that I actually caught some episodes of The Next Mutation while it was on the Hub when that was still a thing. I mean, I was pretty young at the time of watching it. I didn't really question anything, and honestly, I don't really remember much of it. But considering the outfits look like this, and Venus de Milo is a thing, maybe it's for the best. I don't know. What about you, Ellie? What's your history with the Turtles?
Well, I personally have been a fan of the TMNT since I was pretty young. I mean, I grew up with the 87 version, and over the years I've caught like only glimpses and pieces of the 2007 and the 2012 version, and I've seen a couple of the movies when I was pretty young, but I don't really remember much of them. But none of them has really captured my interest like Rise has.
Yeah, after Out of the Shadows, I kind of stayed away from the Turtles. Not really because I hated it or was burnt out, I just didn't really have much interest in it until I got to play Shredder's Revenge, which is a freaking awesome game, and until the embodiment of perfection over here, yes I am a simp, decided to drag me over and force me to watch Raw TMNT the movie. Or I decided to say yes because I wanted to spend some time with her.
I love you, hon.
Love you too, honey. And if you want my opinion on it, it's a phenomenal time. It has some tonal issues here and there, but it's incredibly well animated, action-packed, humorous, emotional, and also dark in a few places. Everyone is dead in the first few minutes!
Oh yeah, they were not afraid to go dark in this one.
This would lead to me sitting down with her and watching almost the entire series over the course of a few viewing parties, something that I actively look forward to because, well, my girlfriend is involved, and this show slaps. Yeah, if you were walking into this video expecting me to rip this series to shreds, you're going to be disappointed. This is a freaking joyride of a show, and it is criminal that it didn't last any longer than 2 seasons. And as a thank you for introducing me to the series, I figured I'd bring Ellie along to help me talk about why exactly this series is so awesome.
But as much as I would like to review every single episode, we don't really have the time for that, so which ones are we watching today?
Well, let's just begin with the episode I started with after the first episode, and Ellie's personal favorite, Lair Games.
A Valentine's Day gift for me is my favorite episode.
The Valentine's gift was having you on to help me.
I love anything if it means spending time with you.
Even Queen Banana?
Fuck off!
Sit on a dick!
I stand corrected.
Sorry. So with that sudden hit of guilt out of the way, let's have a look at Lair Games. So we opened this episode with a sort of documentary-style interview between the Turtles and April O'Neil, talking about the titular Lair Games. And considering this is a new incarnation of the Turtles, we got Raphael, voiced by Omar Benson Miller, who's mostly known for television roles like Walter Simmons in CSI Miami, and Charles Green in Ballers. Michelangelo, voiced by Brandon Michael Smith, who I didn't even realize was Nico Harrison's Sonny with a Chance and So Random. Dear God, memories have unlocked in my mind. Donatello, voiced by Josh Brenner, who's known for his roles in Merida and Silicon Valley, and also lent his voice to DuckTales as Mark Beeks. And the 5-time winner of this thing, Leonardo, voiced by Ben Schwartz, known for his role as Randy Cunningham in 9th Grade Ninja. Is that series any good? Dewey in DuckTales, BB-8 in Star Wars, wait, what? And of course, Blonick the Corn Dog. Now, if you're expecting the typical characterization of the Turtles, I could only hope disappointment is a part of your normal life, because Jesus.
The usually rude and sometimes angry but still cool guy Raphael is now the protective older brother that's constantly worried about everybody. The carefree party dude Michelangelo is now the therapist of the group that takes on different personas to solve problems like Dr. Delicate Touch and Dr. Feelings.
I thought you were Dr. Delicate Touch.
Dr. Delicate Touch feels nothing.
And he also has a love for the culinary arts. Leo, the fearless leader in blue,
Step aside. Let's put the prettiest face first.
is now a diva.
And the definition of cocky.
As 5-time champ, I'd like you all to stand while I speak.
I refuse. Down with Big Blue!
And then the genius Donatello is now still a genius, but add some psychopathic maniac into it.
Leo, hit me!
Oh, please let me.
Yeah, this is admittedly one of the biggest hurdles that I had to overcome when watching this series, because I am so used to the Turtles being a certain way. I mean, with Raph and Mikey, it was relatively easy, but with Leo, yeah, it was pretty jarring. He's supposed to be a fearless leader, working to keep his brothers in check, taking losses heavier than most outside of Raph and 2 of the movies. And now here he is, being a smug bastard about his victories. Now, yes, he does develop later on, especially in the movie. But still, it's a very weird look for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if this turned off people from the series. Now, Donnie, on the other hand, like, okay, in terms of my favorite Turtles, I have been and always will be a Raphael fan. Maybe it was the red bandana, the twin Psy, or the fact that he was a hot-headed brute, but I easily gravitated towards this turtle, and he's always my top pick in Shredder's Revenge. So why is Donnie consistently the best character in this show? Now, I've always appreciated Donnie in the past. Well, okay, specifically the 2012 adaptation. But this one, I swear to God, he just steals any scene he's in with his smug, passive, sarcastic, emotionally unavailable personality, with some people theorizing that he has autism, with one of the staff writers confirming it. Though even as somebody with ASD, I really can't say that I'm an expert on the matter, so I'm just gonna leave a link to Skulltrot's video on him, which puts it into far better detail than I ever could. But for now, I'm just gonna say that he has so many moments that are just outright iconic. One of those moments from Clothes Don't Make a Turtle, Ellie turned into a freaking comic.
Okay, guys, say magic is just an illusion, science is superior. All right, that's a great one of me.
Let that go to show how perfect this guy is.
Hey guys, post-production ASLB here to give an addendum to my opinion on Donnie because, well, the theater room is in shambles. I feel like I undersold his autistic coding and relatability, speaking as somebody with ASD, as said before. His hyperfixation and sensory problems being a few points, which, well, I'm kind of sensitive to some textures, and, well, you know I hyperfixate on Miraculous, as well as his more blunt responses and info dumping, which I tend to do myself with these reviews, and even to some of my friends and people that I talk to. I still recommend Skulltrot's video because there is far more to it that I'm not really much of an expert in, but still, I just want to get those out of the way. Another thing I want to get out of the way, I don't think I've given Josh Brenner enough credit for voicing Donatello. At least this version of Donatello, because he really helps make the character stand alone compared to other incarnations and makes his personality feel far more genuine. I couldn't imagine this character working with any other voice actor, and by no means am I putting down the other voices for Donatello. They do a good job in their own right. But Josh Brenner, he's legit perfect for this Donnie, and I can't praise him enough. Back to the video.
Anyways, as mentioned before, this is the 6th annual Lair Games, and everybody's wanting to beat Leo's smug shell after losing to him the previous times. Donnie is especially getting the worst of it, from indestructible watermelons to evil beach balls. Being a soft shell has its downsides. And just to spice things up, he's offering his own freaking room to the turtle who can beat him, aka the best room. Note the quotes are going to be important. So we start off with the handstand hill bomb, where the turtles have to slide down the slope on a skateboard upside down. Don't try this at home. And whoever crosses the finish line... Wait, let me change a few things. There we go. Leo crosses the finish line and is the winner.
In second!
Hooray for Best Boy! Also, note the descriptions below the names. They're a great read. Booty Shaker 9000 is a descriptor for Donnie, and that is just sad. So we enter Event 2, Pipe Goop Chicken. That does not sound safe for work. Yeah, this really isn't safe for work.
Now, what even is the pipe goop? It kind of looks like toxic waste.
Honestly, I'm more reminded of the dump of doom from the 2012 episode, The Fourfold Trap. So wonder that I managed to remember that. And for the first time in his life, Donnie finally suffers his first victory. And I do mean suffer, but he doesn't mind one bit.
Num num, num num num.
Memes! And so it's basically war between Donnie and Leo, taking first place any chance they get, with Raph winning the Chubby Bunny competition for good measure.
Well, he is the biggest. It wouldn't really be a surprise.
I can fit a whole fist in my mouth. Wanna see?
Hey, I wanna try that! I can't do it. I feel like I'm going to get lockjaw from it. Holy shit. But then there's the incident. We're now at fridge balance, where they have to balance everything you can fit in the fridge, or really anything, because who puts a toaster in the fridge? A pot? Maybe, but a toaster? And of course it's blue versus purple, Leo versus Donnie, Viperian versus Huntsman.
Isn't he Cyan?
Oh, right, he would be Venus. But Big Blue falls on top of Donnie, scoring a victory for him and a pineapple to Donnie's leg. Damn you, Bikini Bottom! And of course there's the debate on whether it was deliberate or an accident. You make the... I want to say that it was deliberate because why not?
This is just like the Salisbury witch trials.
I think you mean Salem.
I mean, to be fair, there were 3 accused witches who lived in Salisbury. Susanna Martin, George Burroughs, and Mary Bradbury. But still, even Donnie's calling BS on this. So with Donnie being the injured sad boy who really needs a hug but probably won't appreciate it, it was lights out for his victory, with his brothers being deeply concerned for his well-being.
Did you see his ankle?
As deeply as a dried up puddle on the sidewalk. And thus Leo scores a perfect 10 in shell bowling, and he once again wins the Lair. Suddenly Donnie! Making his re-entry to give Leo a piece of his mind, with Raph and Mikey being like, and so he makes a leap of faith with his brothers believing in him.
Is something I would say if I was crazy.
His brothers, ladies and gentlemen. But manages to overcome it and win a perfect score.
It's a tie! Come on!
So it's a tie, which means... Alright, I've abstained from talking about him throughout the episode. Let's address Rise, Splinter.
I had waited my whole life for this.
Oh, Jesus. Now, Master Splinter is a character I usually respect, being a strict but caring and protective father figure and sensei with the occasional bit of humor here and there to break up some tension. Most notably the live-action movies ending with him doing a funny. Right, Splinter is kind of a joke! Okay, he has his moments, I won't deny that. And I freely admit that I don't mind his backstory being changed to Hamato Yoshi, being a ninja action star with the stage name Lujitsu, and Eric Bauza gives a great performance as him. Yeah, he's the voice of a crapload of Looney Tunes characters, 3 of the banana splits in the titular horror movie, Food from the Fairly Odd Parents, and even Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy, adult party cartoon. But my god, there are points where he can be a bit of a joke, even for Splinter standards, and I wonder if it's even safe to call him Splinter anymore, especially when I have to see him shaven and oily! Please do not try this at home, kids. I am a trained dumbass. So, the goal of this game is to catch this slippery pile of flesh, fat, and suntan lotion, and spoiler alert so I don't have to traumatize you any further, Dottie wins, literally giving Leo a rat's ass. If you ask me, this is a fate worse than death. This is like having to get your chest waxed for all eternity, or having to sit through Jeff Dunham sketches for the rest of your life. And so our episode ends with Donnie winning bragging rights, Leo's room, and a lifetime supply of suffering from Splint's snoring. So even when Leo loses, he wins.
What an asshole!
Okay, I think I should cleanse my eyes out with something that'll be a lot more pleasant than bleach. Mystic Library! So we open this episode with April O'Neil trying to break free a cat in the mirror. I'm sorry. Yes, this is our April O'Neil, voiced by Kat Graham, who's known for her roles in Vampire Diaries and 17 again, oh god. And much like Donnie, my familiarity with April is kind of limited to the films, to the 2012 version, to Megan Fox. So I'm a bit out of the loop when it boils down to characterization in the cartoons. But I still freaking love this version of April. She's confident, she's a freaking nerd, she's not afraid to step into action, and she doesn't take crap from anyone, not even the turtles. You know you're dead the moment she brings out a baseball bat or screams her freaking name.
April O'Neil! April O'Neil! April!
I also really like the dynamic between her and the turtles. It's clear that they're all very close and they all really care about each other, but unlike the 2012 version where her role was pretty much just a love interest and the girl of the group, in this one they seem to be more like actual family, like they're siblings, and it's just so wholesome at times.
Well, sometimes wholesome, other times, again, baseball bat. Just like siblings! Anyways, like I said, she's trying to get her mystic saber-toothed yokai cat Mayhem, a recurring character in this show, out of a mirror he teleported into to avoid
Bath time!
Yeah, I might as well get this out of the way. There be mystic elements in this show. From mystic yokai like Mayhem with the power of teleportation to the turtles' weapons. Except for Donnie, who's a tech-obsessed nerd who needs to be protected at all costs.
I'll never let you go.
Yeah, this was somewhat of a criticism I've seen from others, and honestly, I didn't really mind it. I mean, yeah, it's different, and it's weird to see the turtles fighting with mystic powers, but it does lead to some decent spectacle in the action sequences, and I'd say it was better handled here than what they did with Venus de Milo. At least I hope it is. Honestly, I was more put off with Raph using tonfas instead of the typical Psy. Yeah, I have my priorities straight. Speaking of Raph, did I mention that the turtles can be a bit stupid sometimes? And they need to find a solution before Mayhem ends up vanishing into the netherworld of mirrors. Because that's a thing that can happen. But Donnie has an idea that I'm pretty sure everyone will love.
I look for answers at my local library!
Ew, reading. So they go to the library with Donnie obsessing over literature like it was a way of life, and the brothers being brothers.
And then they come across a book straight from Hogwarts.
I was honestly thinking Super Mario 64, but whatever the case, it eats them up, which is pretty horrifying for any sane individual. So not Donnie. And they get transported to the titular Mystic Library. And while I'm here, I might as well pinpoint the animation because sweet Jesus, these guys have a knack for visual comedy. From the way the turtles move in some shots, the fact that they just flip into existence. There is no f***ing way!
But you're laughing!
I know! The faces that they make, I mean, Raph alone has like 3 derpy faces that send me, and Mikey... I mean... So they're allowed to explore the library for something to get mayhem out, but there's a catch. One loud sound and... he gets dragged away like a freaking cardboard cutout! Jesus! So Donnie Magic 8 Ball's the answer to what they need and where to find it, and he memorizes it in song form. Oh joy.
Honey?
Yeah, honey?
Does that beat perhaps sound familiar to you?
Donatello, with the book in his hand, saves the day and proves to everyone that he's the man.
Michelangelo, he's one of a kind, and he knows where to find.
Don't you do this to me, show. So with Donnie the cardboard rapper out of the picture, they suddenly have no choice but to remember the song and try and find their way around this hellscape of a library. Suddenly Foot! Oh, right. Suddenly Foot Ninja. Voiced by Pinky and the Brain themselves, Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulsen. Both of these guys having a massive list of voice roles, even appearing in previous Turtle cartoons. Rob Paulsen in particular voicing Raphael in the 80s cartoon and Donatello in the 2012 cartoon. And hot take incoming, I kind of prefer him as Donatello instead of Raphael. I don't know, he just seems to fit Donatello that much more. Even if I still consider Rise Donnie best Donnie and I won't hear otherwise. Cancel me! So, yeah, the Big Lunk and Mr. Drythroat are here to throw a wrench in the Turtles' plans while making sure not to disturb the Hush Bats. I mean, they look kind of intimidating, but whenever I hear the name I get hungry for some reason. And thus we have a... fight? I'd be hard-pressed to call it a fight and more a contained cry for help. Contained because...
Hey, come on, put me down!
yeah, the hush puppies with wings. So down goes Leo thanks to micro origami ninjas, and Drythroat tries to do the same thing to Raph, forgetting that they're made of paper.
So with the Foot Ninjas gone and the corridor they're looking for found, everything seems to finally be going well, as all Raph needs to do is suddenly April!
That's my thing.
Sorry.
I can't stay sad at you. So now it's a chase to the Compendium of Escape Rituals, with the Hush Bats on Raph's trail and the library getting destroyed.
Past the Ibis Tapestry.
This is the second time I reviewed a show which mentions an ibis. I am not sure how to feel about that. But eventually he gets the book, makes it to the kitty room, which... I know you have many questions right now, but I am not going to answer them because even I don't know what's going on here. They make it back and perform the ritual, freeing Mayhem, living up to his name, and the episode ends the same way it began.
I'm smashing him out.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, as later on he would appear to be fine. I still attest that this show is a lot of fun. Honestly, I don't know what else to say without me coming across like a broken record. It's well animated, the voice acting is really well done, it's humorous as hell, and the characterization is easily some of the best that I've ever seen. This is a tight show. And honestly, I wish I could cover more of it. Maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I could cover an episode involving Baron Draxum or his gargoyle minions, Huin and Moonin. I could cover an episode with Cassandra Jones, the Casey Jones stand-in, who is an absolute lunatic. I could even cover an episode involving Todd, because, come on, Todd's a total bro. We love Todd here. You don't? You're an absolute monster. Why wouldn't you? But I am going to close off with one episode that I highly recommend, Snow Day. I don't even know what else to say without spoiling this episode. This is just This is just wholesome and encompasses the series at its very best, putting aside the finales. It's animated spectacularly, it's humorous as hell in both dialogue and visuals, it's basically the heroes arguing about which Jupiter Gem movie's the best while having a snowball fight. It's got this guy, Ghost Bear, becoming a mutant, being a jerk, and destroying their snowman, which is punishable by death! Hell, it opens with a freaking musical number! And it's actually pretty good! April especially being the highlight, seriously, she has some pipes! And again, it's got a sense of wholesomeness, especially with the Mad Dogs, that's what the heroes are called in this show, reconciling their differences and coming together through their love of Jupiter Gym and the times they share. Humorously presented while Ghost Bear is behind him.
Feeling over here in a minute!
I don't think that this is one of the outright best animated episodes I've ever seen, unlike the last time I gave a recommendation to a Soul episode in the show, but for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it is easily my personal favorite. Hell, I was excited to write this part of the script just as an excuse to watch the episode again with Ellie. I mean, I've seen this at least 4 times, that's how good it is. I cannot recommend this episode enough. Hell, I can't recommend the series enough. Yes, it is very different and a lot dumber than previous incarnations of the Turtles. Even for a series with talking brain and a robot body, Bunny Ninja with his own series going on, whatever the hell this thing is, a Vanilla Ice rap song, and, okay, seriously, what the hell are these two?
Oprah, I've been trying to talk her into an interspecies relationships for months now.
And I've seen some people compare this series to other much maligned cartoony reboots, my friend Zeno included, and with some exceptions, I'd say this is one of the few cartoony reboots that actually gets it right, especially compared to its contemporaries. Well, okay, I say with some exceptions because yeah, it's not perfect, and I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Please don't start with the first episode. Yes, these are essential viewing if you want to know how the Turtles got their mystic weapons and how this entire thing came to be, but man, this was a bad first impression of the Turtles. They are absolutely dumb even compared to future episodes, and I know that they're inexperienced to start out, and they do develop later on, but with how they end up releasing the Mosquitoes at the very end, and how Baron Draxum was introduced and we don't know much about him until later episodes, which, honestly, saying that out loud just feels more like a stupid nitpick than anything. I don't think that this is the worst episode in the world, but as a first impression, it really left me feeling uncertain about the rest of the series. Like, I know it gets good if the movie was anything to go by, but if you didn't start with this, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't, I wouldn't be surprised if this turned you off from the rest of the series. So, I'd say start with something like Lair Games. That got a few laughs out of me.
Yes! 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 All of the yes!
Other than that, I don't know what more to say, so anything to add, Ellie?
I think Rise of the TMNT does a lot of things right. The characters are memorable, the animation is both epic and hilarious at times, the writing is really well done, with pretty much every episode having multiple quotable lines. I mean, seriously, what in the show isn't a meme? And it also has some really fun callbacks to previous adaptations of the Turtles. And as well as a few similarities with another show that is talked about on this channel a lot. I also really like how the show can be both lighthearted and funny with episodes like Clothes Don't Make the Turtle and Lair Games, but it's also not afraid to go super dark, especially with the season finales. And yes, I'm looking at you too, movie! Though this show isn't for everybody, I'll give it that. Especially if you really love the classic adaptations of the Turtles, this may put you off, because it is so different from other adaptations. I mean, the characterizations of the Turtles are just completely new, and hey, the main villain of the entire franchise isn't even mentioned in the show until the end of season 1. I can totally understand some huge fans being put off by this, because it does so many new things, but if you are just putting it off for the sake of it being different, I think we just need to treat it as its own separate thing and just have fun with it. If you're willing to just treat it as its own thing, then I think you're going to have a really good time with this show.
Thanks a lot, honey. And again, thank you for showing me this series. So I guess the question here is, what do we do now?
How about we watch some debauchery? Might I recommend gushing over magical girls?
Get out of here, Zeno!
Hey, huge thanks to Elvira for joining me for this review and Zeno for the cameo. If you like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, support me on Patreon, and check out my social media if you want to see more. Have a great life, stay miraculous, and happy Valentine's Day.
How come Rafts is on top?
Have you not seen a rainbow before?